Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Do you feel like a winner? Do you feel like you're going to win the day? Like today is going to be the best day? You get what you expect, not what you really hope for or wish for or long for, but what you truly believe is going to happen. And you can program yourself. You can program your mind for success or for failure. It's like a teleological mechanism that guides you. It's a set position, just like your thermostat in the house. You can set your temperature and not have to worry if it's going to get way too hot or too cold. You have a setting inside of you that's been programmed by other people. It's like a GPS. It operates in terms of goals. It looks for end results. It looks for evidence of what you believe. Once you program your inner GPS, your creative mechanism for success or whatever goal you want to achieve, you can depend on it going there automatically. It's like an automatic guidance system that's going to take you to the goal. And it's going to work better than you trying to force it or trying to figure out every step of the way. You're not going to know every step of the way. Just like if you were driving on a long journey, even a couple hours, your GPS, even in the city, your GPS is going to tell you if there's a traffic jam, if you should take an alternate route. The path to your success, to your love, to your money, to the purposeful work, whatever it is that you desire, that's going to be laid out for you. You're on the journey. You might have to carve out a new path, but trust your inner guidance system. Have faith that you will get where you want to go, not by already knowing every step of the way. Because if you knew everything, you'd already be there. Using your conscious thinking mind is not the only way, because your conscious mind is only about 2 to 5% of who you really are. You have a subconscious mind that's running the show, and that was programmed by your parents, grandparents, teachers, society. It's been programmed for you to lead your life. But if you want something different, something better, something more, there's a little pull inside of you saying, a little tug at your heart saying, there is something else in this life that I want to do or be or have. You have to supply the goal. You have to get calm and relaxed and just sit quietly for a few minutes and think, what is it that I really want? You start by using your conscious thinking mind and getting a picture of what do you really want. Once you decide on a goal, once you decide either that's it, I'm not living like this anymore, I want the opposite, or you have a dream that you really want to fulfill, a lifestyle that you want to live, purposeful work that you know you are meant to do. Maybe it scares you, maybe you think you're not good enough, maybe you worry about how other people would judge you, but something that you really, really want. Dr. Maxwell Maltz in his book, in his book, Psycho-Cybernetics, says, you supply the goal by thinking in terms of end results. Your automatic mechanism then supplies the means whereby. If your muscles need to perform some motion to bring about the end result, your automatic mechanism will guide them much more accurately and delicately than you could by thinking, by taking thought. If you need ideas, they will come to you out of the blue, out of the ether. Your automatic mechanism will supply the ideas. But first, you must supply the goal. You must decide. You must think in terms of present possibility. The possibility of the goal must be so clearly seen that it becomes real to your brain, to your central nervous system, and so real that the same feelings are evoked that would be present if you had already achieved the goal. So think about how Olympic athletes would practice. They're not only practicing daily on the field of their sport, they're practicing in their mind. They're thinking about it all the time, whether they're driving, riding on a bus or an airplane, sitting in a doctor's waiting room, whatever they're doing, and before bed especially, they are rehearsing over and over and over in their mind. They're practicing so that they can become the best at their sport. You can practice being the best at whatever you want, and you don't have to be the best, but you have to practice what you do want. I think what people don't realize is most of the time we're using our mind to practice what we don't want. We're thinking about poverty. We're thinking about debt. How am I going to pay the bills? We're thinking about being lonely and not having love and looking around and seeing other people that are happy and then maybe feeling jealous or resentful. That is the opposite. That is going to take you in the opposite direction of what you want. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between what's real and what you're imagining. So as you're imagining things that you don't want, your subconscious mind thinks that's what you want, that's what you're focused on, and it brings you more evidence to support that. In Dr. Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, he says this is not so difficult or mystical as it may first appear. You and I do it every day of our lives. What is worry about, for example? It's about possible unfavorable future results accompanied by feelings of anxiety, inadequacy, or perhaps humiliation. For all practical purposes, we experience the very same emotions in advance that would be appropriate if we had already failed. We picture failure to ourselves, not vaguely or in general terms, but vividly and in great detail. We repeat the failure images over and over again to ourselves. We go back in memory and dredge up memory images of past failures. Since our brain and nervous system cannot tell the difference between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined, our automatic creative mechanism always acts and reacts appropriately to the environment, circumstance, or situation. And if we're emphasizing negativity, the only information concerning the environment, circumstance, or situation available is what you believe to be true concerning it. So it is so important to stop dwelling on past negative failures. If we continually picture failures to ourselves in such vivid detail that it becomes real to our nervous system, we will experience the feelings that go with that failure. So the good news is, if we keep positive feelings, if we select a picture, if we know where we're going, what we really want, and we picture it in our minds so vividly as to make it real in our subconscious mind, and think of it in terms of an already accomplished fact, we will experience winning feelings, self-confidence, courage, and faith that the outcome will be desirable. It will be what we imagined, what we felt to be true, what we really want. What would you love to program your subconscious to set it for success, to experience that winning feeling? Getting that winning feeling is not just about winning a game or an event, it's also about how you feel when you're at your best, and remembering that feeling so you can repeat it again and again. Whenever you can remember the feeling as well as what you did to create it, you have access to that experience again and again. How did you feel when you won a trophy, when you won a spelling bee, when you won a lottery, when you purchased your first home? When you went after something that you desired and you really accomplished it, didn't you feel at ease, well-being, excited, top of the world? You can set your future by deciding what it is that you really want and acquire a habit of success. Charles William Eliot, president of Harvard from 1869 to 1909, made a speech on what he called the habit of success. He said many failures in elementary schools were due to the fact that students were not given at the very beginning a sufficient amount of work at which they could succeed, and thus never had an opportunity to develop the atmosphere of success, or what we might call the winning feeling. The student, he said, who had never experienced success early in his school life, had no chance to develop the habit of success, the habitual feeling of success and confidence in undertaking new work. Charles William Eliot urged that teachers arrange work in the early grades so as to ensure that the student experienced success. The work should be well within the ability of the student, yet interesting enough to arouse enthusiasm and motivation. These small successes would give the student the feel of success, which would be a valuable ally in all future undertakings. We can acquire the habit of success. We can build it into our gray matter patterns and feelings of success at any time and at any age by following Dr. Elliott's advice. If we are habitually frustrated by failure, we are very apt to acquire habitual feelings of failure, and that colors all of our new undertakings. But by arranging things so that we can succeed in little things, we can build an atmosphere of success that will carry over into larger undertakings. We can gradually undertake more difficult tasks, and by succeeding in them, be in a position to undertake something even more challenging. Success is literally built upon success. There's much truth in the saying, nothing succeeds like success, but gradualness is the secret. I think that's part of why people don't step out and do what they want to do, is because they're so worried that they're going to fail. But Dr. Maltz says weightlifters start with weights that they can easily lift, weights that they can lift, and gradually increase the weights over a period of time. Good fight managers start a new boxer off with easy opponents and gradually pit him against more experienced fighters. We can apply the same general principles in almost any field of endeavor. The principle is merely to start with a so-called opponent over which you can succeed and gradually take on more and more difficult tasks. Pavlov, on his deathbed, was asked to give one last bit of advice to his students on how to succeed. His answer was passion and gradualness. Even in those areas where we have developed a high degree of skill, it sometimes helps to drop back, to lower our sights a bit and practice with a feeling of ease. This is especially true when one reaches a plateau, a sticking point in progress where effort for additional progress is unavailing. Dr. Maltz says continually straining to go beyond the sticking point is likely to develop undesirable feeling habits of strain, difficulty, effort. Under such conditions, weightlifters reduce the amount of weight on the bar and they practice easy lifting for a little while. A boxer who shows signs of going stale is pitted against a number of easier opponents. For many years, there was a world champion typing contest, and the world champion speed typist Albert Tangora used to practice what he called typing slow at half normal speed whenever he reached a plateau where further increase in speed seemed impossible. You can allow yourself to step back and practice easier, think easier, and then go to the next level. Everyone has at some point or another been successful in their past. It doesn't have to be a big success. It might have been a small thing, as like standing up to the school bully and actually beating him, winning a race in grammar school, winning the sack race at an office picnic. Remember your successes, the first time you rode your bike or tied your shoelaces or won first prize for the best cake at the county fair. What you succeed in is not as important as the feeling of success that attained it, that attended it. All that is necessary is some experience where you succeeded in doing what you wanted to do, in achieving what you set out to achieve, something that brought you some feeling of satisfaction. How did you feel when you climbed that hill, got the promotion at work, earned a medal? Go back in memory and relive those successful experiences in your imagination. Revive the entire picture in as much detail as you can. In your mind's eye, see not only the main event, but all the little incidental things that accompanied your success. What sounds were there? What about your environment? What else was happening around you at the time? What objects were present? What time of year was it? Were you cold or hot? Were there some smells associated with it? The more detailed you can make it, the better. If you can remember in sufficient detail just what happened when you were successful at some time in the past, you will find yourself feeling just as you felt then. Try to particularly remember your feelings at the time. If you can remember your past feelings of success, they will be reactivated in the present. You will find yourself feeling self-confident because self-confidence is built upon memories of past successes. I love playing golf, and there are times where you hit the ball and it just sails through the air and lands farther than you anticipated, and it is such a wonderful feeling. And when you feel that, instead of when you duff the ball and it doesn't go very far and you beat yourself up because it didn't go very far, there is certainly a difference in how you play the next shot in golf. If you could imagine something that you are proud of, something you succeeded at, and how you felt. How did you feel when you accomplished something that was a major challenge? And then after arousing this general feeling of success, Dr. Malt says, give your thoughts to that important sale, conference, speech, business deal, golf tournament, or whatever you wish to succeed in now. Use your creative imagination to picture yourself just how you would act, just how you would feel if you had already succeeded. Mentally begin to play with the idea of complete and inevitable success. Don't force yourself. Don't attempt to coerce your mind. Don't try to use force or willpower to bring about the desired conviction. Just allow it. Just let it happen. He says, just do what you do when you worry. Only worry about a positive goal and a desirable outcome rather than a negative goal and an undesirable outcome. Don't force yourself to have absolute faith in the desired success. This is just too big a bite for you to mentally digest at first. Use gradualness. Begin to think about the desired end result without worry. begin gradually. Just begin with a suppose. Just suppose that what you really wanted happens. Say, suppose this happens. You repeat this idea over and over to yourself. Just play with the idea. Next comes the idea of possibility. Well, that such a thing is possible. It could happen. And then comes mental imagery. You begin to picture yourself. First, you might think of all the negative possibilities, and you play with these imaginative pictures over and over to yourself. Well, use this for picturing what you do want, for success, for programming your guidance system for what you really do want. Play with the imaginative pictures over and over to yourself, adding small details and refinements. As the pictures become more and more real to you, appropriate feelings begin to manifest themselves, just as if the desired outcome had already happened. Faith and courage are developed in this same way. Instead of allowing fear and anxiety to develop, we're focused on goals that we do want by spending time. Just suppose the best possible outcome did actually come about. Remind yourself that it could happen. Not that it will happen, but it could. And then when you get relaxed and remind yourself that such a good and desirable outcome is possible, you can mentally accept and digest these gradual doses of optimism and faith. After having thought of the desired end result as a definite possibility, begin to imagine what the desirable outcome would be like. Go over the mental picture and put in some details and refinements. Play them over and over. As your mental images become more detailed, as they are repeated over and over again, you will find that more appropriate feelings are beginning to manifest themselves, just as if the favorable outcome had already happened. This time, the appropriate feelings will be of faith, self-confidence, courage, or as Dr. Molt says, all wrapped up into one package, that winning feeling. What would you feel like if you already accomplished your goal? How wonderful would that be? How prosperous, loving, respected, confident, how wonderful you would feel. How relaxed, because it's already created, it's already done. Congratulate yourself. Wow, this is so awesome. I've created, I've manifested, I love my life. I love life and life loves me. Take this feeling into the day with you. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.